think one thing that I kind of what I kind of learned when I was single is that like the person you'll have the best sex with is usually the person that you actually care about. But like I've had sex with multiple women when I was single, and over time it's like it's fun, and then it's just like more of the same, and then it feels like nothing.
Yeah, a submissive woman is more attractive.
When I hear some of these men talk about a submissive woman, it almost seems like they do not like to be challenged in terms of their ideas.
A lot of these girls, they usually go home and cry at night from being lonely, from not having a man.
There's also a ton of lonely guys.
Are you more attracted to a woman that has a high-paying job or to a woman's beauty?
Beauty, I mean,
Yeah, right away. I mean, I already knew about like West Side Barbell and everything like that, but she like bought me a ticket to go to Columbus, Ohio to learn West Side. And that just sparked me. That changed my life forever.
The equivalent of a dominant versus submissive woman for a man would be alpha and beta. Is that what I'm assuming?
I've dated submissive women before. I find them highly annoying.
All right. Are you guys alpha males or beta males?
I don't know.
I like that answer.
I don't really truly know the difference. There's, sometimes like being a parent and getting asked like a lot of questions, it always kind of drove me crazy that my dad kind of quote unquote always had the answer. And I'm like, as I got older, I'm like, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
What do you mean?
I'm like, he seriously doesn't know what he's talking about right now. He's just going. Because he's just BSing, So I'm like, I'm going to do my best not to always do that. And I'm still guilty of it sometimes. But yeah, I don't really even know the difference between an alpha and a beta. But I don't know if like being a beta means that you're a pussy.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Means that you're like incompetent and stuff. I'm not sure.
It means that you'll never get the girl you want and you'll never get the pay you want or whatever the fuck that red pill stuff would say.
It is interesting. This Jubilee video that we're going to go through, it's going to be really fun to watch, but it was pretty much alpha males versus beta males. They do a lot of these videos of like anti-feminist versus feminist, this versus that. And this one's going to be like a bunch of guys who they've titled the alpha males, or maybe the more masculine, versus the guys who are maybe more effeminate.
They're all in a room together?
Yes.
Oh,
they're having a conversation. Yeah, they're having a conversation.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be pretty cool. So I guess it's going to be interesting because I think we all like teeter between both sides, and I'm just interested in what this is going to go.
Men should be the stable ones. Men don't need to be crying in front of women, and ideally they're not splitting chores. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I think that if a woman cannot look up to you in some way, then she cannot respect you, and if she cannot respect you, she cannot love you.
I totally disagree. I
totally agree.
Totally disagree.
Justin Lawler. It's so disrespectful that they legit were just like, these are the alphas, these are the betas. Like, I'm pretty sure these guys were like, you're just going to call us beta males? I don't know if they were proud of that, but fuck it.
Are designed to want to sleep with multiple women.
Men are designed to want to sleep with multiple women. Real quick, what do you guys think? I personally do think that like there is an inherent want. You know what I mean? Like, but you don't always have to do it.
You don't have to act upon that desire.
Yeah. I would say you're designed for that because, I mean, testosterone and all those things, men for the most part seem to be hornier than women, right? And they seem to have a higher sex drive in a lot of cases. And then like, what's that for? It's probably some sort of evolutionary protection so that humans can survive. And so you're probably supposed to have multiple mates.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to try to plant your seed as much as possible so that way you can, humans can, again, like Mark just said, keep living.
And this is purely from a biological perspective.
That men, want to sleep with multiple women, I think is natural because one of the things is because we have so much sperm and that we produce so much sperm and that makes us want to repopulate the earth basically. And so a lot of times what happens is I think that society is telling men not to do that for whatever reason. You know what I mean? And some guys fall into that. But I definitely believe that, men actually want to be with multiple women because it's just a natural thing in us. This is why you hear all the time, men always cheating and guys feel like they, trying to hide the cheating and everything like that. And if it was natural for them to just want to be with that one woman, then cheating wouldn't even be an issue. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I think for the way we were cultured, I agree with that. But also to just through human history, right, for survival, maybe this is old school thinking, but it's just like for survival, you need to have lots of kids. So if someone's pregnant, how do you keep multiplying? You just more women, right? Not saying it's right or wrong, but it's just kind of the way. I think women even cheat too. It's like 50-50.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Actually, we had a conversation with my grandma before she died, quite a bit before she died. But she was like, "How many kids do you think you want?" I was like, maybe 2 or 3. And she's like, "What? What? Why aren't you gonna have 5 or 6?
Spread the wealth, bro.
And I was like,
Spread those genetics around, Nsima.
and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna need to have that many kids, Grandma. And she's like, well, what if some of them die? And I was just like, oh, wait up. You were born in 1919.
Yeah.
And that was a common
Sometimes,
thing
yeah.
for your kids to just die. So shit,
Right.
you know.
Do you guys think that women are designed to be more than, to have more than one partner?
I think that some of them can also have that want. You know what I mean? It's like
Desire.
I think like, yeah, for men, it might be more natural for us to, be more visually stimulated by different women and have the want to have more sex with other women. I don't think it's as strong for women. But I think there's a want there. One thing that I think is kind of odd when it does come to this is because even though like I'm in a relationship with one woman and that's our agreement. We're in a relationship with each other. That's what we want with each other. But even though like there's that, I may see someone attractive and be like, oof, damn. In the back of my head, I'm like, oof, damn. You know what I mean? It's not like you're going to go and just be like, hey, you have self-control.
Right.
So
I think that's a cool attribute of being a man.
Yeah.
And a cool attribute of having like a particular capacity, like, you can kick someone's ass, but someone gets charged up and you can calm them down and say, hey, this is not a good idea.
You don't always have to act
You don't
on your
have
impulse.
to do it. Yeah. You don't have to. You can just go somewhere else. You can walk on the other side of the street and then the same thing with attracting somebody else. I mean, someone might find you attractive. Let's say that you're famous and you're making good money and all these different things and you got women coming at you. You don't have to act on those things. And I think a lot of men would agree that it's, and maybe other men would disagree, but I think a lot of men would agree it's more admirable to stick to the relationship that you have than it is to go and bang a bunch of other women. But some people might dig that too.
One thing that's interesting is like I'm curious where they're going to go on this because like because of this evolutionary desire that a lot of men that men have, that is sometimes the argument for like if I have this desire, when I get to a point where I'm successful enough, I should be able to act on this desire. And on the red pill side of things, I find it odd that like, okay, if a couple is in an agreement, like, hey, I take care of you, you're going to have my children. This for me is just sex on the outside. I love you and I'm taking care of you. But for me, it's just sex. But she's not able to have sex with anybody else. That's how on their side, they rationalize it. But I look at that, I'm just like, first off, I'd feel kind of bad if, I get to fuck whoever I want. You can't. Because I'm taking care of you and I love you. I some people do have that agreement, and that's cool for those relationships. But I personally wouldn't feel good if I was putting the woman I'm with in that situation. I wouldn't personally feel good about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think a man can absolutely be head over heels in love with a woman and still sleep with other women and it not mean anything to him.
Right.
And I think all men have the proclivity to want to sleep with other women. Now, whether they're able to speak to that and actually act on that or not, or if they've been able to, like you said, like religiously find a way to work around it. And I think religion has been great for that, because if it weren't for religion, we probably would not have society. But I think what's most important to identify is that a man should create choice in his life. And if you have choice, you should be able to do as you wish, particularly like in your case, like in my case, if there's no deceit.
Exactly.
It's the lying.
What do you guys think about that? What he mentioned there? Like, it makes a lot of sense if there's an agreement and there's no lying about it. Both parties are okay with it. Why not?
Yeah, I think if we set things up like that from the beginning, I think a lot of times what happens in relationships is people get frustrated with their significant other, and they're like, man, I don't know why they always do this, or super frustrated that they always do that. It's like, well, they probably have been doing that kind of since the beginning. Like, I don't understand why they spend so much time fishing or so much time at the gym, or weren't they going to the gym when you met them? Like, did that change, And so I think the way that you set things up in the beginning is super important.
Was growing up, I was under the belief of just being with one woman, right? Like, I was a virgin for a very long time. Then one girl broke my heart. So that caused like a lot of insecurity, resentment towards the other side, right? And then I just became like a man whore for a little bit.
The problem is you have guys who are monogamous, but they're monogamous because they're forced to be monogamous. In a way, meaning that they have no choice because they don't have the skill to attract multiple women.
And a lot of times they'll use that as virtue signaling. I would never do such a thing. Well, actually, bro, you can't.
Let me ask you this, guys. I'll start with myself. I don't know, maybe because I was raised Christian, right? I'm not going to church or anything anymore right now, but I was raised that way. Even though I have all guys have the desire to just fuck, right? We're horny. We have good testosterone. We're healthy. Like we're like that is what it is. I still think like, even though I could have sex with different women, not just because I care about the person I'm with, I personally can't see that I don't know, I can't see that being a good relationship. I think that being able to control myself and not having to act on that all the time, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's something necessary. Like I'm not going to need that as I go on in life. I don't need the ability, or I don't need to be able to sleep with multiple women to be able to have a happy relationship, especially since my sex life is great. I'm totally attracted to my partner. It's like, I think one thing that I kind of what I kind of learned when I was single is that like, yeah, and real quick, like the person you'll have the best sex with is usually the person that you actually care about. But like, and if you're constantly like, oh, what next hole am I going to put my dick in now? It gets old after a while. So that's why I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with like status. So I think a lot of people want to be able to have multiple women because of status. And then it's like outside of the home. It's outside the bedroom where people like, they want to have like a new hot chick on their arm, or they want admiration for their girlfriend from their friends. They want their friends to be like, oh my God, she's so hot, or whatever. I think people are kind of like looking for those things. But that's not always the same person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Could be, like, could work out perfectly where that's the case, where it works out exactly like that. But
Can they disagree a step forward?
Power Project family, your normal shoes are making you weak. This is why you partner with Vivo Barefoot Shoes, because they have a wide toe box, they're flat, and they're flexible. So with every single step you're taking, if you're taking a 10-minute walk outside, or when you're working out in the gym, your feet are able to do what they're supposed to do in this shoe. They have tons of options for hiking, running, training in the gym, chilling and relaxing, casual shoes for if you're out on a date. You need to check them out. And Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, that's over at vivobarefoot.com/powerproject, and you guys will receive 15% off your order automatically. Again, vivobarefoot.com/powerproject. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
I remember when I would like go on tour and things like that, my friends would always try to encourage me to like hook up with girls that were on to me. But I wasn't really like into it. And it made me feel like weird, like off, like there was something wrong with me. And now I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I'm only having sex with multiple women, so I'm not weird, so I'm quote unquote normal. I feel like even when I do have sex with these random women, it doesn't give me any gratification. And I know that comes with like random sex in the end, but I know in the back of my mind that like I just like simply don't enjoy this. Like I've been with multiple women and I've been with one woman, and being with one woman is just so peaceful. As far as like telling young men that they're born this way and that they should feel this way, it can really not do damage, but just sort of make you second guess things about yourself. Am I normal? Am I weird? Is there something off about me? Everyone else around me is saying that I have to feel this way or I have to do these things. But yet, I don't feel the courage to do those things.
I'm a beta. Nah, but listening to him, like him saying that, it's like, yeah, I've had sex with multiple women when I was single. And over time, it's like, it's fun. And then it's just like more of the same. And then it feels like nothing. And I think that personally, I needed to go through that experience to understand that it's just more of literally the same, except a different person that you don't really care about. And when I'm with my girl, like, it's great. Fucking love it every fucking time.
Do you think if you were at a different point in your life, like where maybe you had less and you were a little bit unsure?
When I was younger, when I was in my early, that's the thing. When you're in your early 20s, I feel like you, and yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, oh, I just want to fuck. And it's great, but I think it seems like, at least for some people, it gets to a point where some people realize it's just like it doesn't mean much. It really doesn't mean much hooking up with a bunch of different people. It may mean something to the bros who are like, oh, how many girls have you had sex with? It might mean something to them, but at the end of the day, it's like, it just kind of like, for me personally, and this is not for everybody, it's just a diluted experience, right? So maybe people just need to go through that so maybe they learn that they love it, and that's like the thing that's for them. And again, like you mentioned, people are wired differently, and then some people, like myself, are just like, it's all right.
You don't even need another person. You can make yourself come twice as hard by yourself.
Oh yeah, just get yourself a fucking fleshlight that vibrates at 100x speed.
Get a good imagination, and you're ready to go.
Oh yeah, dude.
True though, I don't think that we should promote men sleep with multiple women. I think that we should promote choice and what feels right to you. So in your particular case, I would never tell you to sleep with multiple women. I think you might be doing the right thing to do exactly what you're doing and not do it or stop doing it. It's not about pushing it on the young men, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of young men that have a demon inside and maybe are really upset and frustrated with themselves because they feel a certain way. And it's like, oh, I'm coming out the closet. I'm straight, or super straight or too straight or whatever it is. I think that it's really going to be about choice, man. So if me to you, I tell you, if that you don't feel good doing that, man, I wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah, I agree. In your situation, what was happening, and this is what I think a lot of times what happens is you have guys who will have sex with multiple women because they're trying to fill a void. So it shouldn't be about filling a void. It should be about you actually desiring. So you don't desire to do it, so which is why you shouldn't do it. But there are guys who desire to do it, but then they're suppressing their desire, and then it's doing the same thing as you not wanting to do it. Like they feel weird about not doing it, but they want to, whereas you felt weird doing it, but you didn't want to.
I think it's a society thing. Like what you just said, who's making them feel guilty about not doing it? Other men. The reason, I think women and men, the question was, do you feel that men are meant to sleep with multiple women? Or they're just, that's what they do. And I don't think that's true. I think it's a part of your character and who you are. I do believe that if you're going to be honest with your partner is into it, but do I believe that we are biologically meant and it's in our head because we have to procreate and this and that? I don't believe that. I believe the reason we do it a lot is because it's looked upon as a great thing for men to have multiple women. Women are shamed for that. Shamed totally. I have one son and two daughters, and I know the difference of how I felt when they were 15. They're in their 20s now. They were 15 versus him having multiple partners or my daughter.
What do you guys think about that interesting double standard? Partially just because getting sex is much easier for women because all guys want to have sex. Like if a woman has quite a bit sexual partners, it's like they're shamed by other women, and then they're also shamed by men, right? Women call them a whore. Men think they're a whore. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know. I think both sides need to be maybe a little more cautious with it and maybe give it some more thought. It's easy to just, succumb to your emotions and to succumb to the feelings that you have. But I think it should maybe be thought about a little bit more. I think from both sides.
Like we were talking about before, but you guys not would want to, but you think about having sex with them. Well, I'm going to speak to myself. I think about having sex with other people every now and then. And it's like I can see a woman's attractive. I'll be like, damn, that's a nice ass. But again, I'm not always, I don't feel like I'm suppressing a beast or a demon by not acting on it. I know it sounds, maybe some people do feel like they're suppressing a demon. I don't know. It's
Those impulses seem pretty strong when you're young. You know? When you're a young man and you're 15 and 16 and 17, like those things are hitting you pretty hard.
Oh yeah.
But I think, I guess you have to think about like what it is you want. I have a bunch of friends that are single, have stayed single, and they navigated that, and I think they're okay with it. But I think they're also like not that happy about it at times too. But I would also say that I know some married people that aren't always pumped about that situation either. Yeah. So it's complicated, to get through this life is really complicated, and to try to figure out how to manage somebody else's life as well, or your life together with somebody gets to be complicated. And then to try to have a family, and then to try to like, figure out all those things. So all these things are really difficult to figure out. But I would just say for young people, if you're somebody that you believe you want to get married and you believe at some stage that you want to have a family, I would just say don't really waste your time dating people that you don't think you're going to marry. And so that should help you go on a couple dates and just kind of see right away like how involved with this person you want to be. And hopefully you'll be able to kind of narrow it down and find somebody that you feel is really worthwhile.
And we talked about this on a prior episode, but like if you're a young guy, again, date intentionally, but also you don't have to settle for the first person that comes your way. Especially if you're a young guy, like first time he has some sex, you're like, ooh, this is great. Sometimes you might just be like, oh, I want that to be my girlfriend.
Fall in love right away.
Yeah, don't. Don't. Give yourself time,
Struck a check for $1 million and never feel that feeling again. I absolutely would. I really, really would. It's something that I really hated myself for, and I felt very apart. I grew up in the South Louisiana. It was a Bible Belt. And I felt very distant from people around me because I had this urge in me and could not understand why I was so different. Like the biggest self-hate I've ever felt in my life is over this particular subject. I thought I was broken.
And I understand you. And me, again, I'm going to come back with, just being around it. And me, I'm bisexual. I've always have been. But like you heard me say, I've been married to a woman for 30 years. And I've been committed for 30 years. It doesn't that I don't have that desire. It's my character to say, this is my person. And that's who I want to be with.
So that's what you're making a character versus is the driver.
I was going to say,
But then that goes back to, are we just built that way? Because if we're just built that way as men, then there's multiple people that I'm going to want to sleep with.
but I think what I was under the impression with that question was, are we biologically DNA
Right.
created for that? I say yes, but I love and I agree with what we're saying here. It's like, but as men, right, in the culture and awareness and being a human being, having a consciousness, choice, language, we can choose not to. We can go against those desires or urges and stuff.
If you feel that desire and you're honest with your partner, I believe that is true. Do I believe that we are biologically we just biologically want to sleep with more people because we have a penis between our legs and not a vagina? I don't.
Well, let me ask you this, though, because you said you're bisexual. So that means you're attracted to men and women, right? So if you're with a woman, well, aren't you also attracted to men? So wouldn't you want a man and a woman?
No.
So you're just like, I just want one and that's
I made a commitment. And it's not even like
But there's no urge to want
There's always
more?
urge.
That's what we're talking about.
But that doesn't mean that I'm biologically, I think men and women both have urges.
Where do you think the urge is coming from, though, if it's not biologically inside of you?
I think the urge comes from, I don't think it's a biological thing. I think
temptation, not urge.
But the urge creates temptation, no?
But is temptation bad? Like you say it in a way that's kind of like temptation.
I don't think temptation's
It's
bad.
natural.
I don't think it's a thing of then that goes back to all of us then. All of us are meant to sleep with multiple people. So then that's just a whole different society thing. But it's not just, the question was, as men, are we? And I don't think so.
But regardless, I think it's important to understand, 'cause I think we are. And if we can come to terms with that, we can begin to move past it if that's what we desire. But if we reject that idea that it's not natural, then we can't move past it if that's something that someone wants to do.
Andrew, what happened right there? Would you?
Well, he just got done saying that he basically he just like what's the word? He was like not condescending,
Like a double talk. Kind of.
Yeah, where he was like, they're like, no, it's not biologically. We don't have it in us just because we have a penis to want to sleep with other people. Fast forward 5 seconds later, yeah, I do have urges. And it's like, well, I think that's just what everyone's talking about. Like, I don't think it's I think they're all in agreement. They're just using different terms.
I would also agree with his original statement is that he thinks that both sides might be that way.
Yeah.
Which that sounds fair to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a bit odd because I do hear a lot of guys talk about how like, yeah, it's totally natural for men to want to do that, but for women, no. Like that on that red pill side of things, it's like I as a man should be able to, and my woman, if I take care of her and I love her, she shouldn't want that. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like it seems kind of dumb to think
especially
like
modern women. I mean, they can do all the same things as men.
Yeah, they can
There was a time where people didn't think they could, but
yeah. Oh my
they're
God,
doing all the things now, right?
In the end, it is a choice that like, if you want to be in a poly like relationship, that's fine as long as everyone's in agreement. Obviously, don't be in a monogamous relationship and then, like single-handedly choose to, sleep with another woman without telling your partner, like that's when like issues arise.
Submissive women are more attractive than dominating women.
Let's answer this question real quick. Submissive women are more attractive than dominating women. What do you, Andrew? You had some thoughts.
I think all women are attractive.
Yeah, there's definitely that. No, yeah, I think what they're talking about, like the stay-at-home mom versus the boss bitch that goes to work and handles her business and then comes home and brings in either more money, less money, or just brings in money. Yeah, as a masculine man, if we're gonna go down this road, but yeah, a submissive woman is more attractive. Somebody that's more traditional, a little bit more old school. You think about like the old black and white paintings and stuff, or pictures of like the mom at home cooking food, helping you take your shoes off as you walk into the house or whatever it may be. And so it's like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. And I'm not saying that like a woman with a career or that sort of thing is unattractive, but I'm just saying between the two, I guess, yeah, I would have to say that the submissive woman is probably going to be more attractive, and also, this is going to sound really mean, but like maybe less of a headache, if that makes sense.
It's interesting because the submissive and dominating thing, I think the terminology, when I see people talk about it, and I see like a lot of guys when they talk about a submissive woman, this is why this conversation is really interesting. I'm wondering where they're going to take it, is because when some guys talk about a woman being submissive, it almost sounds like they don't want a woman who's going to come with some different opinions other than his own. It's like, it's my rules or nothing else, right? And when I hear some of these men talk about a submissive woman, it almost seems like they do not like to be challenged in terms of their ideas. And the thing is I personally don't think that's a good idea for myself. Like, if I come with an idea, I want you to have the brain power to call me if I'm wrong, not just to do what I say
That
because
sounds
it's what I
wonderful,
say.
Nsima. You're so smart. That's a great idea. You should totally do that.
How would it feel having a yes woman at home?
Right.
And sometimes when I hear men talk about a submissive woman, it's like, you just want a yes woman. You just want someone who's going to agree with everything. And that could be less of a headache. And I know this isn't what you're talking about, by the way, because I know Stephanie. Stephanie isn't that type of person. She's going to, you guys will talk about things. But sometimes sometimes when men talk about wanting a submissive woman, it's like, you just want a yes woman. And that's not an adult. That's just kind of another kid you have to take care of. You know what I mean?
I think what's attractive, at least for me, is someone that can be a really awesome parent. That's what was obviously, like, when I first met Andy, I wasn't thinking like, oh, she's gonna, it takes a while to like get to know somebody in that way. But ultimately, I don't care if she's got some traits that are maybe stronger than mine in certain areas. I'm not intimidated by it. I'm just like, this is great. She has better organizational skills than me. She's definitely way more aggressive than I am. If there needs to be like a phone call to like get something fixed on the house or something, like, I'm not going to make that phone call. I'm going to be such a pussy. They're going to be like, oh, we don't have anything for June. We could be there in September. And I'd be like, okay. She would be like, no, this thing's broken. Like, someone needs to come, and like we pay, she'll nag them and yell at them and get someone to come. So like, I think a lot of times people are intimidated by women that might have a career, or women that might have their own opinions and stuff like that. And I dig it.
Yeah, same. Power Project family, if you're trying to increase your muscle mass, if you're trying to lose body fat, if you're trying to stick to your nutrition plan, if you're trying to get fit, pretty much if there's anything you're trying to do for your health, we know that sleep is the biggest determining factor to help you get from point A to point B. That's why we've been sleeping on 8 Sleep mattresses for probably more than 2 years now. And the main reason is the technology behind the Pod Pro. Now, the Pod Pro is like the Tesla of beds. It will change its temperature based off of how you're sleeping during the night, And if you have a partner that's sleeping on the other side, they could have their own temperature settings. We all sleep hot here, and I used to wake up in a puddle of my own sweat.
Gross.
That doesn't happen anymore because of the 8 Sleep mattress, and I've been getting the best sleep of my life. Now, if you don't want to replace your mattress, you can just get the Pod Pro cover, and you can put that over your current mattress to get all the benefits of 8 Sleep. But if you also need to replace your old nasty mattress, you can get the Pod Pro cover and the 8 Sleep mattress. Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, you guys got to head over to 8sleep.com/powerproject, and you guys will automatically receive $150 off of your order. Again, 8sleep.com/powerproject. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
Hell yeah. Listen, my shirt says submissive women are sexy. Okay, so
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. And look, I think one of the most beautiful things about love is being able to fully take care of a woman in every way, whether that's emotionally, protecting, providing, everything about that. Like every fairy tale that was ever written for all of time was about a man saving a woman from a castle and a dragon, right? Or some sort of scenario like that. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. And I have nothing against women being empowered, but I do feel like the happiest women in the world are the ones that look up to a man and that he can fight every day to love her and love his kids and his family and provide and be that source of something to actually look up to. Like, I believe a woman can admire a man, and it's very, very, very healthy. Am I saying that somebody that doesn't do that is not a man? No, I would never. But ideally, the relationships that are going to work, the relationships in, let's say, the 30s, 40s, 50s, or whenever, you know, we were having nuclear families stay together before we went off the gold standard and inflation pushed everybody to have 2 people have to have a job. Yeah, dude, I do. I think those relationships were much happier when the man could lead a house and be proud of going out and going to work every day and fighting for his family. Yeah, I do. More feminine in a role, in a family, and take on that either that motherly role or that nurturing role or the role that feels supportive to the overall mission of a man. It's just got to be a man worth getting behind, and weak men are the reason why this is a problem. Case in point, look at the workplace. You don't see women applying for jobs to be power line guys or hang steel at steel companies. They're not picketing outside of the United States Army being like, why won't you draft me? They don't want that smoke, bro. And that's okay.
Right.
And I can't say enough. It's like, as a man, like, you get to take pride in taking care of a woman, protecting women. What about your daughters, man? You want to protect them, provide, care for them. That's okay. Let them be feminine. A strong man doesn't need you to be a man. He say, fine, you can be a woman. You're safe, sweetheart. You come with me. Right. That's it.
This is one thing I wondered too. Like, you know, with women getting educated and getting into decent jobs, I know in the past, women didn't used to work or get educated or any of that, but there seems to be like we seem to be putting women who are working and making good money as being inherently masculine because that's the thing that men always did, and now women are starting to be able to do more. But
it doesn't have a gender trait to it at all.
My girl loves, like, she wants to be a therapist, but she fucking loves that field. But just because she loves that field doesn't mean she's inherently masculine, but she has a field that she's interested in and actually wants to build something with. I don't think that makes her necessarily masculine, and the fact that she's going to be making good money doesn't mean I can't take care of her in other ways along with bringing home income myself. So that's why, I mean, I know it gets more complicated when kids come into the field because, like, you gotta have somebody there, but at the same time, it's like that's the thing that's just like things are different.
Yeah, and I think kind of some of what he was saying there is maybe it's not necessarily like masculine or feminine to go and make money. Maybe it doesn't have a gender attachment to it, but laying bricks kind of does. Like, there's just not a lot of women. Like, do we need to instate a law that says you have to hire 1 woman per every 7 men on this, road construction site? We shouldn't have to, because there's not a lot of women that sign up for it in the first place. That's why there's not women there. It's just not typical. Much like there might be other jobs that men may not apply for because maybe it has a little bit of an attachment to being feminine.
Do you think this has anything to do with the concept of a woman won't date below her pay grade, that sort of thing? So, like, if she makes too much money, then she'll end up being, I'm assuming, single because she can't find another high-value male that makes that much money that fits all the other things because she's so focused on her career, instead of being the submissive woman that didn't go to college, whatever it may be, that isn't making a lot of money, so that way she can date up, right? That's usually how it goes, right?
That's how, statistically, that ends up happening. Some women do find it harder to get into a relationship because sometimes they cannot find somebody who potentially makes more than them if that's what they're looking for, or it's just harder for them because, they usually date across lines and up as far as income. So
I'm just curious. I'm wondering if maybe this just has something to do with that as well.
Partially.
Yeah.
I think some people might be worried or concerned that if their girlfriend does like develop and grow and get into personal development and start to make a lot of money, that they might kind of look at you and be like,
am I useful?
I can find someone else that probably farts on the couch a little bit less than you do right now, and I don't need you anymore. But I don't think there's, if you find the right person, you find the right person. I don't think there's any reason to fear what it is that they're going to do next, with the exception of maybe like particular fields are a little bit more dangerous because of like relationships that can develop and things like that. But again, you either picked the right person or you kind of didn't.
There were just a few things that I disagree on. I think that in 2023 especially, I think women just want to be able to look to the side and see their partner as an equal. And I think a lot of women now I don't think they're trying to be men. I think what they're realizing is that the qualities that they were looking for in men, they've always had it within themselves. If women are submissive, it's mostly for, I want to say like the validation for the man. I think they know in the back of their heads, like they know now that they can do things on their own. I don't think they necessarily need a man, but I think what they're looking for is that intimacy to have a partner. But I don't think that they require one.
Oh, no, they do. Because, a lot of these girls, they usually go home and cry at night from being lonely, from not having a man. They have all these things, and then they're upset they don't have a man. You know what I mean? And I heard you say that, women want to be the man's equal, but you don't see, and maybe this could just be a societal thing, a societal pressure, but you don't see women doing things that could make them equal to the men. You don't see the women approaching the men. You don't see the women paying for the dates. You don't see the women being more assertive to the man.
I know the thing that he mentioned is like, you see a lot of unhappy women, right? Lonely women. There's also a ton of lonely guys. It's like, even though there's this weird thing on the side of women where they're like, oh yeah, we don't need no man, blah, blah, blah. We need each other. Like men need women, women need men. And like, obviously if you're gay, whatever, all that type of shit. But people need each other. So like men still need women. Straight men still need women. You're going to be lonely as fuck, if you're, at some point, like you'll still need a woman too. It's a weird thing.
See what I'm saying? So where's that at?
And they got options. They got so much more options than men.
Well, I'll tell you what you do see. You see a high level of women on antidepressants more than ever, right? And I think that's a bunch of women trying to cope with trying to be like a man when really, let me ask you a question. Are you more attracted to a woman that has a high-paying job or to a woman's beauty?
What do you ask? Beauty. I mean, I'm just...
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about their job.
Yeah, right away.
And I also would like to ask, if you guys find submissive women more attractive than dominant women, is that because it makes you feel more validated as a man, or is there something there that you feel like feeds into your purpose as a man?
Yeah, well, it's a balance. If I'm a dominant person, I need a submissive. If I meet a dominant woman, we're gonna butt heads.
What if that changes? Like, what if she grows? Because I would love everybody to be able to grow throughout life. What if she starts becoming more dominant? Is that like a...
Are you saying if she starts becoming more dominant in our relationship?
More dominant or equal to your dominance?
Oh yeah, she's gone. She's finished.
We're done. And see, that's my thing. Like, look, I got children. I don't need somebody else to take care of. And I love your thing about, the Prince Charming and everything. But you know what I need? I need a badass woman who can match my badass energy. I work with my wife, and I'm gonna tell you, I take care of her, she takes care of me, and she's badass. And that's what I'm attracted to. I don't need a submissive that I have someone to take care of. And then it's fine. If she goes through that, then I'll be there and I will take care of her. But I'm not looking for somebody, another child to take care of and have to dominate and tell, you go over there. This is where we're gonna go to dinner. This is where we're gonna do that. No, that's why what he was saying, I was gonna bring that fact up too. A lot of men are depressed because they put it on this shield of I have to be the leader. I have to do this. And you know who goes to get help first? Women.
You and Andy, you guys you guys both own this massive business together. You guys have multiple kids. It's like, how do you think things would have gone if Andy was, I don't know, it's a hard question to answer, but if Andy wasn't Andy?
Well, I mean, she's been so supportive of everything that it's just I can't make any sense of that question really.
It was kind of a stupid question.
It's not really a stupid question. I know what you're saying. I would have just, my whole life would just be completely different. You know, just would have went in a different direction. The first seminar that I went to I already knew about like West Side Barbell and everything like that, but she like bought me a ticket to go to Columbus, Ohio to learn West Side. And that just sparked me. That changed my life forever. It'd be like, you know, I think you were mentioning someone recommended jujitsu to you. You never heard of it before. It's like shit like that. Just boom. It just changes your
One of my ex-girlfriends. Yeah.
Yeah. It just changes the trajectory of your whole life. And from that moment on, for the next 15 or 20 years, that's all I thought about was powerlifting, just from that one seminar. So yeah, I don't know what my life would have been like otherwise.
Better question. Did she ever intimidate you?
No. She's
a strong person, like from my purview, knowing her.
Yeah. Like, she can talk too much. I'll tell you that much. So those are conversations I've had to have with her.
Yeah.
It's actually really funny. We were meeting with a mutual friend that was giving us some like business advice and stuff. And this person just like stopped for a second. She's like, Andy, can I stop you for a second? And I was like, oh man, this is going to be really good. She goes, I love to talk a lot, but you are talking a lot more than even me. And she's like, in order for this to work, we're going to have to be able to go back and forth. And so I kick her all the time and try to elbow her, even in meetings today, because we'll try to overpower stuff, but I don't really care.
Okay.
Doesn't bother me.
I wonder, I guess it would be the equivalent of a dominant versus submissive woman for a man would be alpha and beta. Is that what I'm assuming? I'm assuming that correctly? Sorry.
Yeah. You could put it in those terms. Yeah. Because if we're looking at just like the blocks or the fucking.
Put everybody in a box. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like a submissive wife at home, blah, blah, dominant boss bitch. Like that would be it.
Okay. Then I'm curious, like what women would prefer more, the alpha male or the beta male?
All of this stuff, I think, there's so many people, it probably depends on the person.
Yeah.
Some women probably prefer a guy that like is just really chill and not like super, I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe not wearing a dress like that, dude.
There's some girls that are into that. Look at Harry Styles.
Maybe a guy that's like just like in the middle a little bit, you know, a guy that's like, you know, maybe not developed yet, but you know what I mean? Like, because you usually, a lot of times you meet someone when you're younger. And so hopefully you can kind of like grow together.
But I'm a firm believer. I've gotten a lot of therapy in my life. I've done a lot of things for myself personally to resolve my own internal conflict. Okay, so it's a job of alpha men. The real integrated alpha man has the capacity to understand what he's feeling, why he's feeling the way that he is, articulate in a way that is productive to the dynamic. So a real man is someone that understands himself deeper at an emotional level, has taken the time to do that so he can show up as a rock, not so he can show up more emotionally.
Problem is that if you're super emotional, when we talk about the whole thing of being submissive or dominant, your woman is going to dominate you because you're so emotional.
Emotionally unstable. Let's say that. It's let's stop using emotion. Let's start using emotionally unstable.
Right. Maybe I have misinterpretation, but I would think like an alpha male would be someone that's maybe more emotional and more like high strung.
What do you mean?
Like going to react and be mad and like, right?
Oh, okay. I see like you're talking about like the violent alpha, you know, like the guy who's like, violent, I'm fucking alpha.
But putting your foot down like on where we're going to dinner and like just, I don't know, being aggressive, I guess.
Yeah. There can be too aggressive. But like when it comes to emotional instability, it's like, I wonder where they're going with this because
I guess they're thinking like a beta might be like weepy and have like some female characteristics or something like that.
Yeah, but anger is also an emotion. You know what I mean? It's like you see a lot of some guys who are really deep on the masculine side. They get angry fairly easily. They're not very in control of their emotions. So I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Teeter to the waters of the relationship.
So, you guys know dominatrix exists for a reason. And by the way, I used to personal train at Dominatrix. You guys are their clients.
Not me, cowboy.
I'm being serious. Like, it's a very hidden thing. I used to date them. High positions of power, very alpha. But like, here's the thing. I think you guys put a little bit too much pressure on yourselves. It might be a societal thing. I've dated submissive women before. I find them highly annoying. Sometimes I just want somebody to pick a choice. I like her places. She's got better taste than I do when it comes to that kind of stuff. So please go ahead. We do butt heads once in a while because she is dominant. But does that mean she lost respect or attraction for me? No, not at all. And trust me on that one. So I think it does depend on your energy. You have a very high one, right? Maybe it doesn't mix well with somebody who also has a really high dominant energy. I'm not saying that's wrong because they exist for a reason, submissive people, right? But I just think for me, when it's very submissive, I don't find that as sexy. I find that annoying.
But see, and that makes sense. And the reason why, what happens is the more masculine you are, the more you want the woman to be submissive. The more dominant she is, then the more.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty fucking masculine, dude. And I don't want somebody that submissive.
I'm saying that in that moment you're in your feminine, but go ahead.
In your feminine, pause.
Man, he went at him.
Yo, damn, I'm a beta. No, seriously, like I don't know, man. Like somebody who's like extremely submissive, it's like they're kind of a kid. You know, like I've been in a relationship with someone who just couldn't make decisions and just they were just floundering through life, couldn't figure shit out. And it's very fucking annoying to have to lead somebody who's just like, you don't have your shit together. It's annoying for women who have to date men who don't have their shit together either. It's like, but I don't necessarily agree with this guy who's like, oh, the more masculine you are, the more submissive of a woman you want. There's this, I wish we could pull it up, but there's this video by Jocko. And he was talking about how, and Jocko Willink, you guys know him, he's fucking US Navy SEAL. He's like, yeah, I don't want to date somebody, like the person you're with should be capable of being a good partner, should be a badass, should be able to handle shit, because if this is someone you're going through life with, you don't want somebody who you're gonna have to hold their hand through everything, like fucking Superman. Like one of those guys mentioned how men do put a lot of pressure on themselves. And I do think like, if you see this archetypal masculine alpha male, right? You pressure yourself to have everything figured out. You have to be a leader. You have to make all this money. You have to be able to be the rock. You cannot have any type of emotions that you can't handle, because Gordon knows she's going to leave you if you're a little bit emotional sometimes. It's like there's all this pressure, and you wonder why a lot of men cannot get to that type of holy grail, you know? Power Project family, shut your fucking mouth. We've been talking about breathing through your nose and nasal breathing during your sleep for the past 5 years. That's why we've partnered with Hostage Tape. It's the best tape on the market, sticks to your face even if you have a beard. So head to hostagetape.com/Power Project and you'll be able to get a year's supply of tape for 55 cents a day. That shit saves you $150. It's a no-brainer. Links in the description and the podcast show notes. Enjoy the show.
You and your wife have like a conversation about a disagreement, and then you guys like a healthy conversation, and then she ends up being right in the situation, would you consider her dominating me?
No, I consider her right.
So what's your definition of like dominant? Like you always have to be right?
No, it's not about right and wrong. It's about who's running the show.
So by her being right, is that not her?
No, that's just her being right in that conversation.
Yeah, a good leader would allow someone else to be right. A good leader doesn't have to be right. He wants the team to win. In fact, I'd call a man insecure if he wouldn't allow a woman to be right on the subject she was clearly
there.
I like that.
I do like that. And, it goes back to the question of, like, what do you find more attractive? Because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's a preference.
What's a preference? It's a preference. One of the things you said is, like, when you and your partner or girlfriend get into something and it's, like, a little heated, like, I get off on that.
Me, I totally don't get off on that. Like I don't need any back talk. I don't need any lip. I don't need any attitude. It's my way or the highway. Like I don't want none of it.
I didn't even have a conversation in the first place about the disagreement.
You're not having a conversation. No.
This guy,
So you just pause.
He, the fact that he like really identifies himself as an alpha male.
I'm masculine.
Yeah.
Masculine as fuck, bro.
So, but that's like his identity, right? Like he's identifying like this is me, and I want somebody who's submissive, and he's even using like higher and lower, right? As like a chart. And then he's believes in his convictions so strongly that he thinks everybody else is wrong, which he may have found out the right recipe for him.
Yeah.
Like it very well could be the right recipe. Now people are kind of ganging up on him, but he may have found something that works really well for him because of his own view and his own beliefs of himself.
He's got his wife and his girlfriend.
But it does seem very weak when he's like, I don't want somebody back talking me. It's like, well, fuck, what are you saying? But also, like, you can't.
What does back talk mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that too.
Yeah, you're not supposed to rebut. Like, I have an opinion, but I'm going to keep it to myself. Like, what? Let's see where he goes,
What
man.
did you say? Yeah. Like, it's like, what the hell? Like, no, I don't know. You don't do that with your wife.
And then he even like had said earlier that like whatever, if she became more dominant, then he would just hit the eject button and that'd be it. It's like, damn, like you just would give up like that fast. Like, that's interesting. Seems a little
strong.
Yeah, like, oh no.
Just avoid to be challenged. You don't want to be challenged. That's
There you go.
No back talk. I'm right.
That's a different thing. If we're talking about a topic and she's right about the topic, that's just how I was talking about the
Like
topic.
an opinion of yours or things that you want
No, I'm
to do
talking
that she
about-
disagrees with.
If you're making an opinion, you're saying you want no back.
No. I'm not talking about opinions. I'm talking about decisions. So we can have a conversation about a topic, but when it comes to a decision, the final decision is mine.
Let me change my word. If we're to have a healthy discussion about a decision, which she
She
disagrees.
says I disagree.
Right. She said, so if we say, hey, she wants to do A, B, and C. And I say, no, I want to do D, E, and F. Right?
Doing that.
We're doing D, E, and F at the end of the day. Now, I will listen to what she says. And if I think A, B, and C sounds better, then I say, okay, yeah, let's do A, B, and C. Because
But you
that
don't
sounds
want back
better.
talk in the first place.
No.
Would
That's
you even entertain the conversation?
No, that's what I'm saying. If we're having a conversation, that's cool. I'm saying the final decision, though, is mine. So you can speak your mind, but at the end of the day, I'm making the final
So
decision.
it's like, I'm going to let you talk.
Yeah,
but,
let you
like,
talk, yes.
In the end, I don't really care. I'm going to do what I want.
No, I said I care.
I do want to touch upon the.
Just say one more thing with like let's clarify submissive. Let's not get that mistaken between incompetent. Like submissive does not mean incompetent.
Yeah.
And I think you might have been talking about women that could be incompetent, where they don't have the capacity to take care of themselves at all or make any type of decision. So I think there's definitely a difference in how she shows up in the relationship compared to being able to make decisions in her everyday life.
Sure, but he doesn't want them to make decisions.
No, I didn't say anything.
No, your decision's the final, no matter what.
Some of the strongest women in the world right now are sitting in submissive roles because they're strong enough to think for themselves and do what they feel good in their heart. Because there are women that do want to be submissive naturally. And some of those women are the strongest women in the world right now, especially when the world's telling them to go be something that they don't want to be.
I do agree that honestly, it is a choice. It's a preference. You know, we shouldn't speak upon like everybody. Obviously, like it's always a gray area. It's a range. It's not one side or the other. And if you guys want to be in a relationship where the woman is submissive and the woman also wants to be in a relationship where the male is dominant, that's completely fine. But the thing I want to talk about more is the fact that like you guys keep saying that like this is what women want, or that like all women want this. Who are we to decide what women want? Because first of all, we're not women. And second, just because of our personal experiences in our lifetime about the people we've interacted with, I feel like that's something we need to take a step back from and clarify that like, no, this is just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
In the end, we don't know what women want. Women knows what they want, not men.
We're going to do a part 2 on this, but do you guys have any final thoughts on this part of the video where they're dominant and submissive women? I like what that last guy said.
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job of letting each other talk. You know, each guy's getting their point across and each person is communicating. So I think it's cool.
I love this, man. It's like not like even though these guys are disagreeing on things, because I've seen a few of these Jubilee type videos. Sometimes people get catty and shit, and people really go like these guys are like letting each other speak, and it's a nice wholesome man conversation.
Yeah, they're in disagreement, but they're letting each other say their piece.
Yeah, I do like what that last guy Eddie mentioned, because it's like when you hear a lot of stuff on the internet, people are like men are this and women should be like this, and this is ideal woman, this is the ideal man, but like. I hate this word, but there is a spectrum. You know what I mean? Like people like what they like. They like different things. And there's a lot of ways to have a healthy relationship that doesn't fit that standard mold of what most people think is a healthy relationship. So I dig this video so far. What do you guys disagree with us on or agree with us on so far? Ladies and gentlemen, chime in, let us know. I'm real curious, and we'll have the part 2 of this out soon.
Strength is never weakness, weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later.